The nights are drawing in. It's been 3 months and 1 day since we had the longest day of the year, at least those of you living in the Northern Hemisphere, which is about 95% of you. But with that said and done, let's get on into it. It is today's 3 versus 3 Ranked Supreme Commander taking place here. 1671 average rating. Let's just try and get through some stats before we introduce our players. Both teams are a faction mirror matchup today. So the Southside Spinners down here just 21 points, or 7 points per player behind. It's about as finely balanced as it's ever going to get. Today's game is all about player dynamics. Who sits right within the team that they've been given. There's been some big improvements in the game and a big reduction in desyncs since the big patch recently. And while not perfect, it's a big relief to me. So thank you very much again, everybody who's been involved with that. And just before we do get acquainted with today's players, I'd like to give a big welcome to Sal, Travis and Dan, who've joined the patrons in the last week or so. They've now got access to 16 exclusive member-only games over there, but that's enough shilling for one day. Let's introduce our players on today's 13.75 kilometer map. So here we see it on the Neuroxis version 1.9 that we've been accustomed to lately. Coolies versus Hotties, because it is a ranked game. So those of you that are unfamiliar with this, who are new, as you can see, all the cooler players, the blues and the greens, depends how many you get, on one side, and all the reds and the yellows that I call the Hotties based on one of the suggestions from the players. On the other side, today that's a Team 1 versus Team 2. As we see, Team 1 are the coolies, and for no other reason than that is the reason, we'll start introducing them. So in the first slot down here, the highest rated player on his team is Cortana, 1823, going Cybran there, first land. Cortana, isn't that the Microsoft assistant? I don't know. Perhaps someone can let us know. Either way, to the north is Kelly here, 1632, the other Cybran in Lilac. And last but not least for his team, over here in Aeon, is Zom, 1568, going first land and second land as well. Let's go ahead and introduce over onto the other side then. Team 2, the Hoys today. Over here we've got Castaway, 1846, the highest rate player for his team and indeed the game, going first land, second air. Transport first ship out there, together with 4 engineers that are waiting for it, looking for a quick spread. Moving further south is Exited in orange. He's the Aeon for his team. No doubt the air player, going first land, second air, 1788. I'm not sure I mentioned that. But last but not least, over here in Ferrari red, going first land, second air, we have Han at 1368. And with that, we've rounded off Team 2 and indeed all the players on today's game. As we said, the map is 13.75 kilometers in size. And let's have a little look at the mass while we're waiting for things to unfold here. Lots of mass, lots of reclaims. So these smaller numbers likely to be just very small rocks and trees. What I'm interested in are these 4 very large figures in the central areas. We've got 2800 on what appears to be a landlocked plateau, both north and south, and then large quantities of mass over here as well. And first player to make use of it, Castaway, 1846, and he's gone for an aggressive drop. So this is the Hotties here, dropping onto the plateau that you could argue belongs to the coolies, the plateau there nearest their place. And for those that are new to this, you may think it makes more sense to sort of expand incrementally. And certainly that's the way I'd do it if I was to play. But actually these high-rated players, what they try and do is expand aggressively. And then the theory is if they can hold, the territory behind where they're expanding should naturally fall into their hands much easier. And I suspect that's what Castaway is trying to pull off here. You know, the 3 mass points is probably least of it. I guess what he's really after here is the reclaim. Obviously, the 3 mass points do begin to pay dividends much more later game. And yeah, very effective technique here using the light assault bots. They are the quickest unit to build and offer the highest amount of damage per shot for the least investment. And so lots of reasons to build it if you need lots of firepower quickly, especially when going after engineers like this. And it looks like Kelly's drop, despite having 6 engineers, He only manages to get... Oh, it was so close, but just one factory. I thought he might get that second factory, but he does not, and that leaves Castaway comfortably in control. It's one factory each, although Castaway with the numbers on units, although Kelly does have a Tech 1 bomber, so this is by no means over. Castaway starting work on a second factory. Kelly realizes he has to take those engineers out, and he does, and with it, both players still just one factory apiece. Although, problems here for Kelly because he's surrounded. And putting the bombers right where it hurts. Does take out the final engineer. The Castaway, still with the factory online, is able to continuously reinforce this front line. And it appears here that the factory belonging to Kelly is finally going to go down. Just 200 or so hit points remain. That is going to be it. Castaway's also got an engineer over here looking to reclaim this factory that Kelly had begun work on. And that's going to be a hold for the Hotties on the aggressive plateau. We see exited here a little later onto the show and hasn't yet gone for a factory, but is also working on reclaiming and making use of the plateau. So early on, at least plateau-wise, Hotties doing well, but if we take a look at how the land is, the Coolies seem to be dominating. As we see, they're the ones with the units at the 50-way mark, and in some areas like down here, slightly beyond. Let's take a look. Got our first little bit of action over here, commander on commander style. Cortana faces off Han. That is a 500-point disparity between the player ratings, favoring Cortana here. And because the game's so evenly balanced, that must mean on another front somewhere else, the advantage goes the other way. We see here two commanders. I suspect that will be the other way. We've got Zum over here, 1568 versus Castaway. And so there is at least 300 points going the other way. So I'm saying, yeah, what about the other 200 points? And I can only imagine that is made up for with the players. In fact, exited coming to the front line here. So this is the air player from the Hotties making a show up on the front line. The air player for the Coolies, however, back in base. Kelly. 7.5 minutes, and we see here Kelly's actually made a second play for the central plateau, has gotten a drop there secretly with some air to distract. I'm wondering Castaway's aware of it. Well, if he wasn't before, he is now. He sees a couple of engineers, he moves in, and now he realizes probably too late. Castaway elected not to finish the second factory. I wonder if that's a mistake he's gonna live to regret this moment in time. Kelly with two factories, a lot of build capacity, as well as the units there. Have a quick look over here. Exited. Looks like he's going to get his first couple of shots in versus a couple of Auroras. But yeah, all the action. This is where it's really been at, this northern plateau. And it looks like he's going to switch hands yet again. Kelly now with the numbers, pumping out engineers. And Castaway, I think, does right, tries to move these units away, although being landlocked, they're not going to get very far. He may be able to cause an annoyance, run interference with them in a bit. If I was Castaway and had the spare APM, I'd send them this way and over here. But of course, global vision and hindsight being 2020 and all that, easy for us to say. Down here, we've got Han with the gun and Cortana, who I believe was working on tech, forced into cancel. Indeed he was. Cortana was cancelled on the tech too, so very well played there from Han. Commander with gun outranges commander without. Of course, all the regulars here will know that 10 times over, but for anyone new, there always is a few. If you are new here, welcome. Yes, this game is 15 years old, but was updated only a week or so ago. And continues to be on Forge Lines forever, so far living up to its name. Check over here on the northern side. Oh, Zum forced into a cancellation there. And he was in the high 80 percentile when that was done. Castaway does not have the gun. but alas, does have the units, and so I agree with the decision there. Kelly sends in Tech 1 bombers, which great unit to use versus the spam. Although I'm surprised how ineffective that first lot of bombs were. Although the second lot may be a lot better. There we go, 3 kills for the first. And I guess the Kelly decides to turn around. Going after these units here. Somehow Castaway still got hold of this factory. I'm unsure if there was a second drop there or not. Although Kelly very short on units here. Quick check back down here. Hand pressing once again. And Cortana going for the upgrade. I'm just going to slow the game right down. I want to show something here. In fact, I'm going to pause it. For those here we see the Mantis here belonging to Cortana are assisting the commander in the upgrade. Now check this. The commander is using 155 energy to upgrade. In this case, going for the stealth. But if we look at the Mantis, we see, in this case, this one is using 17. So every Mantis assisting the commander is using 17 energy as opposed to 155 by the commander. Just a bit of rough and dirty maths. That means if there are 9 Mantis assisting the commander on the upgrade will happen twice as quick. And so, yeah, I realise that will be old hat to some, but for those of you that are new, you know, I like to drop a tidbit once in a while at the risk of upsetting everybody else. But, you know, if that is news to you, there you go. Defend me in the comments section if somebody starts. Looks like Cortana's absolutely determined to finish this upgrade. He's got a couple of engineers. They, of course, will help the commander upgrade much quicker, although is in range of Han. And Cortana now making a press. It's unsure. No, he then decides to come back round. I was unsure there if it was a decision to push it on. Incidentally, I'm unsure, you know, if at least in the Microsoft way, Cortana is a female name. So if I do get that backwards, my apologies. I was looking through the stats the other day. 1.1% of the audience is female. That's up from 0.1 from about 3 or 4 months ago. So I'm doing something right somewhere, aren't I? Either way, it's always nice to see. And Han, I have to say, holding his own here. Again, the 1368, by no means a beginner, right? Han is... Let's have a look, actually. What do we in our little customized rating there is well into the bros. And certainly playing like one. That's between the Joes and the pros, his rating. I just felt that to go from Joe to pro is just too big of a jump. And thank you very much for one of the subscribers suggesting bro should fill that gap. And a great suggestion it was. I think it explains it well. Very nice drop here versus some mechs from Kelly. Running interference at the back there. The transport ship was shot down, but alas, the damage is done. Kelly actually controlling both of the plateaus. And so, yeah, having initially both gone to the hotties, now belong to the coolies. And Cortana now with the stealth means it's difficult for Han to see. There we go. Unless he's got visual information on the enemy commander, he can't see it. He can just see the shots coming out seemingly from the shadows. Radar serves no good. And Cortana now the first player that we've seen with Tech 3. He's got the loyalist bots on the front line, and that will tear through this Tech 1. Just got to watch out with the enemy commanders. I assume Han has the ability to overcharge. Let's have a little look, and indeed he does. He's got 14,000 in the bank, so that is enough for one overcharge. Or it's one energy storage, should I say. It's an interesting move here from Exited. Decides to clear out the southern plateau personally. Takes his commander up there who's got the vision. So if we take a little look there, that's what Exited can see. Useful upgrade. Prevents anybody from hiding. And here we see this attack that we was expecting Cortana to do. And there we go. Overcharge. One of the loyalists taken out. Cortana backs off. Second overcharge takes out the second loyalist. This loyalist very heavily damaged due to all the Cybrans fire. walked straight into a Tech 1 point defense that's walled off, has to get very close to fire over the walls, and so that's probably going to be a third loyalist, and indeed it is, that goes down there. So 3 out of 3 of those first units actually did very little. Although, does alert Han to the situation, who as best I can tell is still just throwing spam forward. The only unit here really capable of putting down damage is the commander, together with the Cybrans turrets. These are great at dealing with the spam. Just wonder, does Han have the eco to continuously overcharge? Well, yes. Just about. And that there is another failed attack from Cortana. Kinda surprised that Han has just completely demolished that army with mostly, if not entirely, spam. Yes, he's got these Cybrans turrets and the commander, but that was basically it. Very well played there from Han. Taking a quick look, we've focused in there awful lot of the time. Once again, the Hotties making a play for the Northern Plateau, going to town with it with Tech 1 bombers. Although for now, Kelly's still dominating up there. Looks like Castaway's trying to get rid of his ability to build new units. Both factories heavily damaged. If you can take those out and then get rid of the engineers, it wouldn't surprise me if they're planning another drop. Exited now with ASF in the area, as well as a Restorer. Well, if Exited can keep this alive, this will capture that plateau. Restorer, look at the orders. Do circuits around the plateau. Being relatively quiet on the upper east side. Both Zum together with Castaway just happy to hold the line. Castaway is, however, amassing some Tech 3 units on the very eastern flank, and if Zum isn't aware that they're there, well, first off, he's not aware that anything's there, but even if that was to appear on radar, he would only see blips, so this could be a nasty little raid on the cards, and the wall being under Castaway's control, he can just decide to self-destruct that wall at any time he likes. And yep, here we see Exited has completed mission. Once again, the Northern Plateau belonging to nobody. Big scouting run here from Kelly. As we see, there's not been a single scout in this area. Look at this. All the area here has not been scouted, not once at any stage. So that's kind of unusual at this stage of the game, considering how high rated these players are, that it took 17 minutes to get a scout to the other side of the map. Isn't to say, of course, they didn't try before and have it shot down, but still, that is unusual. So as we have our first real quiet spell here at 17 and a little bit minutes. I say quiet, of course, Castaway says, "What you on about, pal? I'm moving in with my Tech 3. And with nothing more than a few Auroras there and a Tech 2 engineer to stop that, that's going to be a comprehensive win for Castaway. I'm seeing nothing here. And Zum is probably a little surprised at that. He's well aware it's coming now. We've got Solitary Tech 1 point defense. That's not going to go anywhere. Although Zum is here with now a couple of harbs, importantly the Commander Oblivion turrets as well as the shields, and yeah, that's going to stop a handful of these, what we're calling them, loyalists there breaking through. I was almost going to say Titan, but of course wrong faction. The UEF are not playing. Exited doing a big raid over there with his Restorers. Elects to back off, although Castaway maintains. No doubt due to this SAM site. 7 kills so far. Now 8. So static surface to air missile structures there, paying themselves, I think, 1100 mass. It really has paid for itself, certainly when you consider all the other units it will have defended. Exited recognizes that and backs right off. I'm surprised here that the central region has been as static as it was. We did see Cortana press earlier on and it didn't work out. But now Exited is also assisting. So again, this is the major difference between the Hotties and the Coolies. The air player for the Hotties is assisting in the mid. An aggressive push here from Castaway, trying to break through Zum's front line, and that may push him out of this area. It does open him up to one mass point, but perhaps more importantly, a bunch of reclaim, and it locks Zum all the way back here. And so significant progress has been made from Castaway. And again, it's not entirely unsurprising, considering Castaway is the higher rated player. What is a little surprising is Cortana's not been able to match the same thing over here. And I can only assume that is due to the decision from Exited to help out. And that is, at least so far, been a major difference between these two teams that are otherwise exactly matched. You know, they've got the same, both two Cybrans, both have got one Aeon, and both of them, as you can see the rating there, in the 1660s, 1670s, as we said. Just 7 points between these two teams on average. Zum here able to hold so far, and again, at least now the one thing favouring Zum is he's only got one area to defend versus two separate flanks, but of course that can also work against you if it's taken out in one go. Selecting to creep out the Oblivion point defense, arguably the best versus Tech 3, and a very annoying raid here from Han. A solitary break threaded through, so far taking out two of the capped off mass extractors. We've also got cheeky tac missiles coming up here from Han as well, and they're completely destroying Cortana's ability to produce new units, going after resourcing. Very well played. And so let's have a little look then. I was hoping to do an eco before, but let's have a look now. 344 versus 304 in favour of the Hotties. And so these players down south are at least 10 if not 12% ahead overall, and that's no doubt in large part thanks to this additional territory that's been controlled by Castaway. In fact, you could also argue, if we take the map being down the middle, the mirror, the Hotties are also ever so slightly above the 50 way mark. This here was a beautiful raid. And if we take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 mass points belonging to Cortana, all of which were upgraded, taken out. I'm not sure any of them were Tech 3, but they were all Tech 2. Cortana now repaying the favour with a big static artillery installation, and just look at the devastation it's causing here. I don't think there's going to be any way that Han can hold. Han does get a single Gunther online of his own, but I suspect he's far too little, far too late. Doesn't have a single kill to its name, and I doubt it's going to. Yeah, this whole area, and as soon as Cortana's dealt with the few structures here, the artillery can be shifted to deal with Exited front line, and that could be the beginning of a change in the trend that so far just feels like the Hotties are starting to put the squeeze on the Coolies on every single flank. Whether you're talking the left, centre or right, it's not looking good for the Coolies anywhere. Let's have a little look on air numbers. Again, there's a little lull in activity. Let's have a look just globally. 104 versus 21 in favour of the Hotties. And so at first glance, again, huge advantage for these guys down south. Of course, that includes all aircraft, so they may just be Tech 1 scouts. So let's just see if the situation is as bad. So Kelly, ASF-wise, he's got 14. And if we take a look at Exited's air, 27. So there is still an advantage down here. And of course, the other aircraft could belong to other players. We've also got the Restorers here from Exited. So actually, that advantage probably is as bad as it seems. Certainly if you're rooting for the Coolies. Oh, Cortana's static artillery installation beginning to really cause problems here. And importantly, when your team's behind on air, are these mobile bouncers. Got artillery, mobile artillery now from Castaway. These Tech 3, the Trebuchet, they're my favorite artillery unit, the Cybrans. It causes a decent amount of damage, but perhaps more dangerous is, or more lethal is, the splash. And you get some of those stacked on top of each other, and you can just see here the problems it's causing. Zum, not entirely accurate, but it doesn't matter when you've got so much splash when you start bringing them in. Yeah, 1 becomes 3 from Castaway. That's not a surprise. We saw there the notification for our first experimental unit as well. Yeah, look at the damage, man, those things. And again, defended by a wall of bricks, quite literally. Zum doing the right thing with these mobile shields. And he's got a couple of sniper bots there, but what really interests me is the GC. I just wonder, is Castaway aware? Well, yes, he is. They have scouted the GC. And the only question is, at what point do they realize the GC's coming? Does he get it pinged? Or does he just wait till they take damage? Or will he realize it before? So far, he's not noticed. The GC begins picking up the units. Let's have a little cinematic shot. Going after those bricks. Cyclops Eye continues to laze them. And his arms, just look at it, sucking units up. I love how those bricks just tumble through the sky. Suck, 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 suck. It's like it sucks the life out of it and then drops it off. Very nice. And so, yeah, that was a much needed counter move from Zum. Cortana is holding the front line very effectively with the artillery here. It's just the weak spot is, if it's only artillery, you know, the other units, I don't know, experimental in nature, might be able to get through. Kelly, as we see their notifications starting on the laser, that's the air player for up top. And large waves of Tech 1 bombers now going after the GC. And now the first experimental over here. And they do focus each other. Zum has got to get the supporting units up here and fast. Exited is sending restorers up, so that's... At first I thought this was an easy win for the GC, but now I'm not so sure. So many experimentals, the GC does win, but I suspect with this much supporting units, it's only going to be temporary. GC just gets its 3rd star, but with Percy's moving in together with these restorers that are not going away fast enough. 19,000 hit points remain. Some does the right thing and puts the Asylum shields over the GC, but I think he could do worse than bring it away, especially when we've got a second GC moving up now from... a second Monkey Lord moving up towards the GC from Castaway. And Zum, yeah, I completely agree with that decision. Turn, tail, and run. Trying to exploit the range of the GC, going after the Monkey Lord. The Monkey initially faced with a wall of herbs, and he gets a second Monkey Lord. That's some really nice play there from Zum. A very heavily damaged GC, now a 4-star, having killed its second experimental. And if you trickle these bots in one at a time, that's just going to be food. But will this 3rd Monkey Lord be? We'll check right back. We'll just have a quick look elsewhere. Hotties once again in control over there. We're also seeing some artillery coming north. I suspect that's Tech 2, but we will verify. And this time the Monkey Lord's easily gotten in range of the GC. And Zum not able to reinforce it with shields, and the GC does go down. I suspect the Monkey Lord... Oh, it's going to be close. If most of this is anti-air... Most of this is anti-air and engineers. So the Monkey Lord with just 3,000 hit points may live. The sniper bots there, they've got to come on. Take another shot. They wipe off half the hit points. It did get up to 6,000. Oh, the sniper bots are now going after engineers. Perhaps Zum lost radar lock of the... No, he's still got it. And Castaway with the perfect response to sniper bots. Tech 1 bombers. And that's taken out a lot of them. We'll check over here now. And again, this was my concern for Cortana's front line. Mostly being artillery. Very, very vulnerable to the spider bot. Cortana did send bricks forward, but the Monkey Lord is being escorted with bricks as well. Monkey Lord half health, but gets its first rank of vet. Cortana's attempting to reclaim enemy units using his drone stations there. Monkey Lord halfway to its 4th rank of vet, and all the direct fire units from Cortana are now gone. These are bouncers here. And so nice win there. And again, Han, I agree with the decision. Bring the heavily damaged Monkey Lord back. Either reclaim it or let it vet up and heal up. Couple of units being very annoying on a raid here from Han. It's not the first time we've seen him do this. Just send 1 or 2 units down in an annoying direction. Castaway's been allowed to amass. Now his 3rd experimental. And the Hotties, importantly, have gotten access to all the reclaim. Let's zoom out. How much have they got there? Well, look at that. 50,000 mass just on this little bit of the map. And that is in addition to everything that they've already reclaimed. See these engineers, even the Tech 1 engineers there, hundreds of mass. Let's have a look at this guy. He's just gotten there 460, 400, 480, yes, so hundreds of mass. And that's only going to get worse. Just feels Cortana, despite being, you know, he had that artillery base, but I'm thinking, what else? It's looking very light, and this entire area of Cortana is at risk of being lost. There's a lot of mass points here. It's a large investment. Oh my goodness! Kelly has teleported and taken out Castaway. We'll stick with him. What appears to be an undefended commander. Look at Kelly's health almost full. Having taken out the commander, exited making a beeline for it. Let's see where he's going next. Down here. Deep inside, exited to main base. Exited who is shielded up and going for point defense. And so Kelly teleports in. He mazes the support commander. He manages to get the nuke defense, but then is taken out. So Kelly, having defeated the strongest player, then goes for the second. Exited, recognizes the situation, does the telemazer defense just in time, and then says lol in chat. Exited finding it funny. Castaway becoming an observer, and with it, the first player down from each team. Both of them are Cybran. Check back up here as Exited pressing right into some space. The first Monkey Lord together with the heavily damaged one are down. The Megalith now backing off, especially since this second GC from Zum's moving into the area as well. The bricks are going down very quickly thanks to the GC's ability to just pick them up. But lots of restorers now from Exited. Is there anything to defend? We see a lot of flax here from Zum, so he is aware. And he's chasing down the Megalith with his 2 GCs. The one heavily damaged GC going down there. As we approach the 33rd minute. So much air here. I mean, you're going to want to move the flak up or not. And here they come. This is going to shred Exited's air. The problem is if the GC goes down before the Megalith is going to shred the flak. That was unfortunate. Apologies for that. The music getting just a little bit too loud there. Incidentally, I am still wanting to do the dual track thing. The problem was actually not so much I thought it was I just didn't know how to do it. the feature is not yet available. I don't know if that's because my channel's not very big, or if it's just coming out in different parts of the world first, but I'm not yet able to do. So for those unfamiliar, what I'm going to try and do is create an English UK audio track and an English US audio track, and the difference will be the same language, but one will have the music, one will be without. So those of you that prefer, or those of you that don't, you'll be watching the same video and you can choose. But alas, it's not yet available to me, but as soon as it is, you'll be the first to know. GC here, meanwhile, from Zum, pressing up against his engineer, and once again, a lot of mass. We've got at least 5 experimentals there. There we see about 75,000 mass. And I'd like to think that most of it, I mean, it's right on the doorstep of the Coolies base, but I'm just thinking that it just feels like Zum can't get, just feels like he's always one experimental short of really holding the line. And this is perfect play from Exited. Just defend the engineers and allow them to reclaim. And it looks like the Hotties are going to be the beneficiary here. We've also got a Monkey Lord over here from Han going up against this base. Again, with, I would argue, very minimal defense. I mean, we see here Cortana's busy upgrading the mass extractors. Really needs some point defense. You see, he's working on some here Cybrans turret, but it's going to take more than a few Cybrans turrets to defend against a Monkey Lord. That being said, Cortana's moving in with a Monkey Lord and some bouncers, a couple of loyalists as well. So providing this Monkey Lord doesn't get too much vet, we see it's already a 4-star. Now, I think this is the Monkey Lord that we saw attack earlier on that Han brought back to rep up. There you see, great move that was. Very nice play here from Zum, sending forward the flares. As we see the very high damage but low rate of fire from the Megalith. That's going to tie up the targeting abilities. A bit of friendly fire there from the Megalith versus his own engineers. But this here, look how close they are. But thankfully for Cortana, his Monkey Lord, despite not being upgraded, wins thanks to the escorting bricks and a couple of loyalists there as well. And with it defending the base, losing just 2 mass extractors, and does gain almost 10,000 mass reclaim in exchange for it. And I think it's one of those times where we need to split the screen. We'll do away with the scoreboard. We've got this pressure here from Han. The leading experimental there from Exited taken down, 2 GCs, but again a lot of restorers from Exited, and yet another Megalith following it up. Lots of flak though, crucially from Zum. That's going to tear up these restorers, and tear up they do. Look at them dropping out the sky. Han here with very aggressive breaks. There's 1 Monkey Lord in defense, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. A second one though on the brink of going online. That will be enough. And it's just a case of how much damage can these bricks do on the base. They're not going to win versus the Monkey Lord. They may as well try and go after structures. And again, the reclaim orders here from the hives going after the enemy bricks. And I'm kind of surprised there that Han wasn't able to pull off a little more. Just goes to show the micro from both players. In that occasion, favoring Cortana. I think we can go back to single screen now. We'll get the scoreboard back. And we'll see how this battle is evolving. And again, very close, but it just feels like versus 5 minutes ago, Zum's starting to come out the base a little bit, and as Zum continues to do so, this time the reclaim will favor. There we see so many engineers on reclaim due. Look at this Tech 1 engineer with almost 2,000 mass. It's incredible. This time it's Han's turn to hold the front line, more or less exactly where Cortana's front line was previously. Exited, it feels like he's been sat in the middle of the map all game without, as far as I can tell, anything coming there. Heavily damaged GC walks into 2 experimentals and looks like he's going to go down as it retreats. A full health GC now. No doubt going to try and pick off the megalith. Exited tries to back it off, but it's too late. And with it, just 1 Monkey Lord versus 2 GCs. Very heavily damaged GC, just 500 hit points remain, and Exited able to pick it off with the Restorers. The Monkey Lord goes down, and the full health GC just 10,000 hit points left. Zum urgently needs more air or flak, and Cortana happy to respond. And so here we are, just a few moments away from the 40th minute. If you are enjoying the game, don't forget to leave a like, and if you haven't already done so, do consider subscribing, especially considering we've just got our first shot over here from Exited, who's got an emissary online. He's capped it off with his fusion gens for the increased rate of fire, and these first shots, let's have a look. Going after Zum's... Oh, he's working on a Paragon. Oh my goodness. Zum with a Paragon is about 1/3 of the way done. But eating Emissary Fire, I suggest not continuing with it until you've shielded up. I'm unsure if Zum has recognized that there is Emissary Fire coming in. I suspect no, nor has his team, or they would have suggested more shields. I'm not sure if it's 50% required, but if the Paragon's above a certain weight, will still go critical. I think it's 50%. Perhaps somebody could confirm. Monkey Lord here. Look at this. 110 kills. Paragon has now been cancelled. And we hear support commanders going up. Again, very heavily damaged GC, but with 28,000 mass killed, it's been worth it. Really needs some more shielding over here from Zum. Just feels like more shields. And again, with these light assault bots going forward to distract the megaliths. I suppose he's queuing up for when they come. I can only assume that's the plan, as the emissary here continuing to fire. And a couple of experimentals down here on the lower west side, again from Han. And I love the combo, the Megalith Monkey Lord combo, very deadly. I think one without the other always a little vulnerable. So the question is, of 42 minutes, where's it going to go first? And it looks like we've got 4 experimentals here from Exited and 2 over here from Han. And so once again, time to split the screen. We'll do away with the scoreboard just while this conflict takes place. 1 GC Megalith and 2 Monkey Lords there belonging to Exited. And here we've got 4 experimentals together, well, 4 Monkey Lords together with a Megalith belonging to Cortana. It's a lot of explosions going on. So far, the experimentals here, nothing more than light assault bots. Cortana manages to break through, losing 1 heavily damaged Monkey Lord, but we've got the other Megalith and Monkey Lord over here from Han, coming in on Cortana's flank. This base here, or expansion belonging to Cortana, I mean, it's paid for itself with all the mass, but man, has it been difficult to defend. If we take a look on the second screen, I just want to take a look at all these restorers here. Big airfight been encouraged and Exited there, losing lots of restorers thanks to the Air Force under the control of Cortana at this moment in time. I'm wondering, is Cortana continuing to press here, or is and there is a single megalith been dispatched to deal with this breakthrough, but one megalith versus Monkey Lord and megalith probably won't work. And a quick look elsewhere, and it looks like other battles have subsided for now, so let's focus in over here. Somehow the leading Monkey Lord has gone down, and the megalith here, well, it still has the advantage. For Han, the other megalith taking damage from the Monkey Lord, but with the time that that's bought, I'm wondering, is Cortana able to... And yes, a second megalith pitches up, and so if you are rooting for the coolies, it's not yet over. Cortana with a second Monkey Lord and a megalith, and that with the Monkey Lord wreck, and what will be a megalith wreck is again a huge chunk of mass right on the coolies' doorstep. What appears to be a double fire now. Emissaries belonging to Exited, complementing each other, and they're going after, I assume, Cortana. And if we take a look at Cortana, who's exposed, making use of all his kennels now to build more shields, and at least they can build quickly, but one lapse of attention, those drone kennels go, that's it. Emissaries are going to struggle to get through. Oh my goodness, I say they're going to struggle to get through. They do get through. And again, here we're talking about this lapse of concentration. Cortana's attention elsewhere, and there goes the half of those drones that were so instrumental in maintaining the shields. Cortana needs to get a shield online now. Quick check elsewhere. Cortana continues to press over here. Exited's actually refocused the fire. Just 2 experimentals remaining. It's unclear if both of these belong to Cortana or not. My attention was elsewhere, and it still was. Zoom has been defeated, and I suspect that Han teleported in, and again... Sorry, Zoom has not been defeated. Zoom has defeated Han. I can only assume Han teleported in, and with it, Exited is left versus Zoom and Cortana. Exited does, however, have a huge economy together with the 2 emissaries. A big air force. And the 2 Monkey Lords that are aggressing here. This guy was a 5-star before going down. This one here, 4-star, causing lots of damage, but alas, that's going to go. Exited's pincered the area. There's no way for it to escape. There it goes. And so here we are at 46 minutes. Who do you think's going to get it? Emissary rounds continuing. Just picking off isolated structures. I mean, this here's a nuke defense with one in the clip. On the brink of going down. There is another one over here with one in the clip. Commander going for Tech 3. Let's have a look what Cortana's got on his. Tech 3 and the Stealth. And Exited. Quick look, forgive for the shoddy movements. Shield and Tech 3. So all of them are upgraded. And Zoom has quit. That is unfortunate. Perhaps doesn't feel he's got the ability to keep going or didn't have the time. It's unclear, but the explosion there, together with at least 3 pieces of artillery, that crack open the shields, and with the artillery, and again, at least 2 of them are emissary. I suspect the other one is the Cybrans disruptor. They're just going to make nice headway, and there goes the nuke launcher that Zoom had, that Cortana would have made nice use of. I'm not sure what to make of that, but it does bring it down to a 1 versus 1. Map control still there. It's actually starting to slide the other way. The coolies still controlling their side, but now regaining control in the flanks. Exited still predominant in the middle where he's been all day, with the one exception of this megalith that's broken through, but it's not going to last long. A little breakthrough over here. So this here is the opposite side of what we've seen Cortana control that was so difficult to hang on to. I think this is the first time we've seen any enemy units in this area of the map. And at 48 minutes, let's have a quick look at the eco send. 3.04 million versus 2.4 million in favor of the hotties. So that's quite the disparity there. Say it's about 20 or 25% favoring Exited. Big air fight now. As the ASF together with the Restorers connect. Holding shift down to give you an idea of some of the moves, but that looks like Cortana, I was going to say, is one, but then a load of tightly packed Tech 3 air from Exited, not least the Restorers. Makes me eat my own words. That right there is a win for Exited. I shudder to think how many aircraft were lost there. Wish I'd thought of counting ahead of time. I know that there was a rewind button, but alas, there is not. And here we see another press from Exited, and this time Cortana looks very light on defense. There's a single megalith, but that's about to go down. And so two half-health experimentals with at least 10, if not 15 bricks escorting them. And Cortana, well, backs off. Cortana is not just stealthed, but is cloaked. So those of you, again, new to the game, when you see this, this means not just does it not appear on enemy radar, it's also invisible. The only way to see that, Commander, is for either a Tech 3 spy plane or to be stood very close to an Omni sensor. Cortana, meanwhile, doing a press on the western side, does manage to pick off one experimental, but there are 3 more, and again a shed load of bricks. And most of this is a mixture of spam, shields, and sniper bots, which, you know, serves its purpose, but up close and personal does not work. I suspect this is going to be an horrific loss for Cortana. Exited with the perfect engage. Look at that. That nice, I was going to say semicircle. It's not even quite a semicircle, but you know what I'm talking about. That arch gets me all excited down below, and here you see why. Look at it shredding up the area. Cortana does get a much needed reinforcing GC up front. But again, with this many bricks and the second experimental still alive, I suspect Exited will still win. Exited also breaking through here into Cortana's, what would now be Cortana's main base, the central part of the main base, and as best I can tell, there is nothing to stop it. Sure, what's the economic situation for Cortana? Well, look at this. Spending it all, as you'd expect, an 1800 player. So even though has been handed off and is controlling 3 bases, is not floating mass. Not at all. Just about being held. So much of the action on this game has been down this little passage. But when one player's got 3 pieces of standoff artillery and the other player's seemingly no way to shut it down, this could even be a 4th. I'm not sure if this is an emissary all to its own. Let's have a look. Where is Cortana? Right back here. Megalith in the nick of time, but I do wonder, is it gonna even manage to pick off the GC? Let's get another cinematic shot. There you go. GC plus Megalord. And the Megalith does not manage it, and now we've got again undefended structures, the main economic structures belonging to Cortana, and a huge scouting run here from Exited. Now these are the Tech 3 scouts, so if we look from Exited's point of view, providing they get close to the commander, and there you see it, Cortana's commander flickering in and out of view. And Castaway has identified Cortana's position. And so Castaway, the player who died, was able to see there just as we were. That's the exact view that he will have. And he was able to see the commander. Cortana spamming the Tech 1 bombers as the experimentals belonging to Exited making their way towards the commander belonging to Cortana. Cortana realizes there's a problem and backs away. So this right here, I love this play when commanders do not give up. This is hilarious. The experimentals have been moved. Look at this. Continuous pings here. How did you see Kelly's grid earlier, by the way? Exited says no. And look at this. I love that. Castaway directs the experimentals to where Cortana's commander was. Doesn't see it. Cortana backs off in the nick of time. And so that right there is beautiful play. Unfortunately, the rest of the base here is falling apart for Cortana. And so though I'd like to give 10 points for this move, Cortana realizes that's it, having got out of dodge, having pulled off an Argentina 1945. For those of you that know, wink, wink, nod, nod. And until next time, wherever in the world you may be, I very much hope you enjoyed that game. Thank you very much for watching. Take care from deep inside the UK, wherever in the world you may be. Ta-ra. See ya.